We started our day at 6 a.m. and traveled 6,300 miles in 18 hours.
Japan Air's food was tasty.
After our sleep-deprived Wi-Fi snafu, we took a rush hour train to Hotel Gracery in Shinjuku.
The jet lag was real. We woke up at 3 a.m.
Since we were awake, we got some pictures with Godzilla. Once the sun was up and the trains were running, we went to the famous Senso-ji Buddhist temple in Asakusa.
It was beautiful and very quiet.
At 6 a.m., only a few locals and other jet-lagged tourists were there.
It was too early for our next stop, Akihabara, so we killed some time in an unmanned VR lounge.
The toilet was incredible in there. Heated seat, bidet, fan, but that turned out to be pretty standard.
By this time, the temple had gotten much busier and the shops opened up. We treated ourselves to a fried bean paste treat. Akihabara is known for its gaming and anime shops. Super Potato had the coolest vintage posters and games. Of course, we had to visit a cat cafe.
The Google reviews claim the cats were rude and lazy, but we found quite a few that weren't too sour. And the lounge area was surprisingly free of hairballs.
The maid cafe experience was predictably strange. Our sweet waitress didn't speak much English, but we still managed to get a heavy dose of sugar and kawaii culture.
Everything has to have a cute mascot. This penguin runs the subways, apparently.
This other penguin runs Don Quixote's superstore. You can buy anything in the world except for razor blades or stick deodorant, which is what we were looking for. Our trip was after the peak of cherry blossom season, but the next day I got to indulge in my floral dreams at Shinjuku Gyoen.
The tea shop had tasty treats and the strongest matcha we've ever had.
Very grassy.
Except for our hectic first ride, we had a pretty easy time using the subway system.
TeamLabs is famous for their walk-through art experiences.
The floral projection was my favorite. I could have stayed in there all day. Our stop at the Miniatures Museum was unplanned and pretty cool.
But we found that around 4 or 5 p.m. our bodies were telling us to shut it down.
We didn't even eat dinner the first few nights.
Krispy Kreme is still great across the world. Karaoke is crazy popular, so we dabbled while waiting for our scheduled train ride.
I like the way that you are. I am your biggest fan.
The bullet train, Shinkansen, was a fast and comfy way to travel. 200 miles per hour and so smooth. One of the biggest destinations in Kyoto is Fushimi Inari. It is a Shinto shrine with miles of bright orange gates.
We ended up off the beaten path at one point. Every sign said Mount Inari Peak, 15 more minutes.
Kitsune is the fox spirit that guards the shrines. We went to Nishiki Market Street looking for eats, and we definitely found some. Snoopy is really popular in Japan, and these little pastries with his face were delicious. We were so eager for the otter experience. Not only do you get to see them up close, you get to feed and pet them.
They tolerated us as long as we had food.
What was that? We picked our hotel because it had a hot spring bath for guests. It's gender segregated, and it wasn't as awkward being naked with strangers as we anticipated, but it was so hot we could only stay for a few minutes.
Our next day started with a visit to Kinkakuji, the Golden Temple. It was pretty, but definitely a tourist pipeline. We got to visit Nijo Castle from the feudal era.
It was so big, it had a castle within the castle.
2 moats.
We stopped back by the market for the best strawberries we've ever had.
Our small bags had run out of clean clothes, but the laundromat was pretty cool. It had a lot of familiar manga. Not that we've read manga, we've just watched anime.
Because of the yen exchange rate, 2 people could eat really well for like $20.
This butter popsicle was gross.
Nara was the smallest city we visited, about the size of OKC.
It's famous for its huge park with multiple temples and 1,300 deer.
They're supposed to bow to get a treat, but one of them got a little impatient and bit Rachel.
Ow! Ryan? Ryan?
Hey guys!
Ryan, this one's nice. This little one keeps bowing.
The gates and temples we saw here were probably the oldest buildings we've ever seen. They were originally built in 700 AD.
Todaiji is the largest wooden building in the world. To me, it was the most impressive location of the trip. These guys are famous for their mochi beating.
It was definitely fresh, but the warm peanut mochi wasn't our style. Our Osaka hotel was our biggest gamble.
It is a love hotel.
Originally designed for short-term encounters, but currently pivoting more towards multi-night stays.
It was very inexpensive and the amenities were great. The lobby had massage chairs, snacks, and even a self-serve open bar.
We always love aquariums. Kaiyuken was the largest in the world when it opened in 1990. This penguin got snatched.
We ate some KFC in the mall after this. We tried plenty of Japanese food, but we also never regretted the times we reached for a taste of home.
We just love this seal drawing, so lifelike. At 369 feet, the Ferris wheel was also the tallest in the world when it opened in 1997. Our hotel was only a few blocks from the famous Dotonbori district. We couldn't bring ourselves to eat takoyaki. We just aren't up for chewy octopus.
One of the central plans we made for the trip was Nintendo World, and it didn't disappoint.
Oh man.
I grew up with Mario, and the park was so immersive.
We got early entry passes and it was so worth it because we got to ride Mario Kart twice and Yoshi's Ride once before the crowds got in. It's such a great park that it's packed even on a random Wednesday.
We've enjoyed Harry Potter World before, and it was fun again.
We weren't kidding about Snoopy being popular in Japan. They have a whole section of the park dedicated to peanuts.
Apparently the Easter celebration is new, because we were handed a survey asking if we had heard of Easter before, and what our opinion was of it.
The Kevin Costner Waterworld show was exciting, though we had some difficulty following the plot. We don't know Japanese that well.
The parade had so many good characters, and the song has been stuck in our heads for months.
I was able to snap a great shot of Mount Fuji on the way back to Tokyo.
We splurged for our last night at the Grand Prince Hotel. The woman attending our room was gracious and polite to an extreme.
A guy who Ryan used to work with now lives with his wife in Tokyo.
They treated us to a yakitori dinner, and we had such a great time talking about our experiences as tourists and theirs as residents.
Our hotel breakfast offered our last taste of Japan, complete with sashimi and a big, soft, watery egg, which Ryan slurped.
Our departure was so bittersweet.
It was an incredible trip, but there's no place like Oklahoma.